As Captaincy is finally confirmed to be coming next week after an 8-week delay, I'm so pleased to see the back of Season 6. My Season Pass was done about 4 months ago, and even just seeing that tick up is enough to trigger a response in my pirate brain next week. I loved Season 6 as a whole and is a contender for the best season, or even the best update since Ships of Fortune. A lot of you have asked for it, so let's see what was so amazing about this past season and what stopped it from being perfect. We got a glimpse of Season 6 during the 2022 roadmap reveal way back in January, which revealed the first major feature, Seaforts, the complementary adventures, and of course, Legend of the Veil. The latter was sneakily going to release halfway through the season. But let's start with that day one drop. Season 6 released on the 10th of March 2022 with arguably the smallest drop of content we'd seen so far. It included Seaforts, a new Season Pass, Plunder Pass, Emporium Refresh, and Emissary Ledger rewards. The main crux of the content were these Seaforts, and full disclosure, I was not looking forward to these. Sea of Thieves often drops content for new players to encourage people to download it via Game Pass, and the Seaforts were just that. They were designed as short PvE encounters that could be completed in 10 to 15 minutes with a decent amount of treasure for those efforts. I have to say, in all but one area, I love these Seaforts. The first thing that strikes you is the design of them. As they're pulled in as memories by the Phantoms, they weren't constrained by the architecture of the Sea of Thieves, where everything is made from driftwood and ships. They're absolutely dripping in atmosphere too, with the ghostly mist lingering inside of them, conveying their ethereal origins. Not to mention, we have the ambient sound too, emphasising this theme even further. The actual encounter too turned out to be really fun. A lot of the PvE in Sea of Thieves tend to be bullet sponges, but making the Phantoms have low health and have them spawn in groups made this feel less tedious. I get they're really easy for even the average player, but the fights still are really fun. I will say though, the music, as always, is sublime and maybe the best music we've had for a while. Robin, Chloe and the rest of the audio department have a perfect record as far as I'm concerned. The treasure haul is actually really nice too. You get handed a good number of higher tier loot items. Not only that, but there's a bunch of cabinets and cupboards that can spawn in loot. It's a small mechanic, but new enough to make you feel like you're robbing the place. So all of that sounds fantastic, right? That's because it is, and here's where it misses the mark. The rewards. With most commendations we've had in the last few years, we've been given some sort of cosmetic reward, but Seaforts didn't have any rewards for completing the commendations, and some of these are really grindy, like 50 forts opened, so if each took 5 minutes, which is quick, then that's around 8 hours without the sailing time. It's probably closer to 15 hours for the average player. The only reward for this are doubloons, which have been falling out of my ears since Season 1. What pains me even further is that this could have been a great opportunity to introduce a red, navy and gold chip to match the clothing, which is actually a great segue to the Season Pass. Regardless of my gripes with Season Passes as a whole, the actual new stuff like the Naval Commander clothing set and Pirate Legend items are two of the best we've had. I really liked the Season Pass in general, and the Plunder Pass is decent too, just not my cup of tea. I won't comment on the Easter and spring themed stuff, as I don't think it's fair to apply generic gripes with items in this particular pass. We also did finally get the Eastern Wind set, with the ship becoming one of my mainstays and will have a place in my fleet come next week. It's the original version of the Ashen Dragon, but at least it was a good recolor set and not some of the questionable recolors we've had in updates past. That's not all we got. We also got 4 brand new adventures as part of the season, which, to be fair, the last one is a Season 7 adventure due to the delay. Forts of the Forgotten was the only one that was a bit of a letdown, with a fantastic trailer featuring the Servant and Wanda, only for them not to appear in the game. And the RNG was really tedious as well. I don't know why they opted for this. It would have worked better as having set Golden Sands inhabitants at each of the forts. That way, players would visit all of them. I will say that it did have some nice teasers in the lore though. Shrouded Deep though, fucking slapped. Hungering Deep was my favourite update, so naturally Shrouded Deep was just as good. I loved it so much, and some of the stuff was a complete surprise, like Pendragon arriving, Flameheart ship showing up, and the reveal that the veil is incomplete. The music as well, the cinematic version of the summoning just butters my biscuit. We even had a storm roll in too, making this incredibly epic. I know lots of you were really disappointed because of Griefers and the forced co-op, which I really do get. I just think the adventure is neat. Personally, Lost Sands has been my favourite adventure based on the sheer number of community members so engaged in it. It's an absolute superb example of how we can get people to care about the game by raising the stakes. The fan art, the propaganda and the discussions was something we had never seen before. Despite the actual adventures being pretty underwhelming, the content was outside of the game with this one, and I can't wait for it to begin again later this year. And the final adventure, The Forsaken Hunter, was another decent story mission, where the lore implications were so much more intriguing than the gameplay. Revealing that the Gold Hoarder's eyes were twin veil stones was just awesome, confirming the veil is incomplete. Still, I will concede, the sailing to and from though was a bit of a chore. Please don't do this again. Adventures were a bit of a mixed bag, but I generally enjoyed what they offered this season, and if Forsaken Hunter was part of this season, then I would feel very much the same. Which moves me on to the best piece of content we've had since Ships of Fortune, Legend of the Veil. As we all know, this is our first major Pirate Legend update since launch, and no, I don't count Thieves Haven runs. Legend of the Veil is peak quest design for Sea of Thieves and is head and shoulders above any other quest design. The multiple modules, the predictable RNG, and the length makes it such a pleasure to play over and over again. It also blended the best parts of Tall Tales, the rich dialogue, the cinematic set pieces, and the journal makes it all stick out above the rest. I finished 42 of them at the making of this video, and I'm still not tired of it. Interacting with the Pirate Lord, Belle, and Suds again have been great too. The modules are so engaging too, with new embellishments on older mechanics. The shipwrecks were expanded, implementing new layouts, new models, and new searching mechanics. Haunted Islands implemented exploration puzzles with the PvE encounters and added AI companions, which is the first time we've ever seen this in Sea of Thieves. Suds puzzles added 2 new map types and the zoom maps. The lying maps tested your knowledge of the paintings on the islands, and the picture maps test your knowledge of landmarks. This made the dig puzzles that much more of a challenge. And of course, we had the massive tornado and ghost forts. Destructible environments were something completely new as well, but the fact the tornado can be seen across the map incentivizes PvP, not that some people really realise that. I really do think that Legend of the Veil was a step in the right direction for Pirate Legend as a concept, but also a great addition to the story. I was a little miffed we had to wait 6 weeks into the season for it, but it was more than worth the wait. And now we've come to the letdown, the rewards. I think Sea of Thieves has a problem with how they distribute rewards and also has a problem rewarding you for your time. Legend of the Veil did bring some cosmetics, but they were indeed a jumble. We got the legendary fortune weapons, recolors of the legendary weapons earned through the arena. These were awarded for leveling up your Athena level, aside from any commendations. Fair enough, these were released to allow people to finish their legendary set after arena's removal. Then we got some ancient cosmetics. This was the ship set, weapons, and a costume. For what it's worth, I do love the designs of each of these. They're thematically gorgeous and are exactly how I pictured the ancient motif. However, awarding us a costume for getting to Athena 30 was not the best idea, as it just makes everyone look the same. The ship set is earned by leveling up Athena's fortune, just like the legendary fortune stuff. Lastly, the weapons were tied with various commendations for engaging in Legend of the Veil. It just really feels like this was planned as Emporium stuff, like Rare just pulled it from the Emporium and dumped it there as they had nothing else ready. I believe it even more since we had nothing for the Seaforts as well. And to add to this strange mix, we got some unique items in terms of the Servant's Hat and Cutlass and the Pirate Lord's Peg Leg. These really felt like Season Pass items, and I still don't understand why we're getting Reaper cosmetics in Athena's Fortune, when they're mortal enemies. I would like to see these moved along with the Dark Adventurer stuff if we ever got another Reaper update. I strongly believe this was underwhelming for most players. Legend of the Veil was the perfect time to implement a new clothing set for Legends. As some have speculated, this could have also been what the Dark Adventurer stuff was intended for, used to prop up Season 1 instead. Not even the white or green ghost set came out with Legend of the Veil, being the opportune moment to drop those long requested items. More Pirate Lord or Belle items may have been a good choice as well, or even ship parts based on Athena's Fortune, Magpie's Fortune, and the Magpie's Wing. The final thing I wanted to touch on is the length of the season. Granted, Rare can't predict them having issues with Captaincy at the start of the season, and they dread to think what would have happened should Legend of the Veil have launched in March. Something could have been dropped to see us through the 2-month delay, even Forsaken Hunter ended nearly 4 weeks ago now. Season 6 was so close to being the perfect season and the best so far. It was held back by the lack of meaningful rewards and bogged down by a 2-month delay, throwing off the roadmap for the rest of the year. Many people I've spoken to have thought is stuck in purgatory for the last 2 months, and I can hardly blame them. At least Season 7 is locked in for next week. Finally, just inject that shit into my veins now. Thanks for watching this belated Season 6 review. I hope you enjoyed it. How do you feel about Season 6? Please drop me a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe for coverage of updates, new and old, with lore sprinkled in over the next few weeks. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.